Wow. So, the WBC have announced that Andy Majin Buu Ruiz and Deontay Wilder are cleared to fight. They've been given the green light by the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman. He said the following in a statement: Mexican boxer Andy, my daddy's name is Joshua Ruiz, may have the opportunity to dispute the heavyweight title of the World Boxing Council, says President Mauricio Suleiman. Ruiz lost his IBF, WBA and WBO belts on Saturday in the rematch against Englishman Anthony Joshua, the landlord. Mauricio said that despite the defeat, Ruiz will occupy a high position in the rankings of the WBC, and for this reason, he would be a viable option to fight for the title currently held by American DEONTAY Wilder. Andy is going to be well rated, not only because of the big surprise he gave in June. He has a good record showing good things. He's in the boxing elite. Andy doesn't need to have qualifying rounds or something else. Maybe he should rest, reflect on what he did wrong, then move on with his career, Mauricio Suleiman said. Wow. So there you go then. The statements have been made, and let's get it right. I've been the one calling for Wilder versus Ruiz from the start. However, it would be unjust of me to jump on that bandwagon without saying this. It amazes me that your main man Suleiman talks about how Andy's going to be well rated and he doesn't have to qualify rounds and he doesn't need to prove himself. We're just going to put him in there with Wilder. Now, as I said, I really want to see Wilder versus Ruiz, but part of me does go out to Dillian White like, what? Oh yeah, don't worry Ruiz, you don't have to do no eliminators, let's get it right. When Dillian White's been chomping at the bit to get in between Deontay Wilder's skinny Eritrean cheeks, yeah? He's got them that little 2D bottom he's got, yeah? Dillian White wants to get right in between them two cheeks, but this goofy dude, Mauricio Suleiman, don't want no parts of it. Wilder don't want no parts of it. And they're saying things like, this was the main thing. A year ago, yeah, people weren't talking about, Dillian White doesn't need to do no rounds and Dillian White doesn't need to prove himself. Everyone was saying, the reason Dominic Brazil is mandatory because he fought Eliminator. Everyone was sucking off the whole Eliminator situation. I never really understood it myself. In my opinion, how you get mandatory position is you beat good people, or you've beat the best people, or you haven't, yeah? The number one person, the mandatory, should be the person who has proved the most, who has taken the best scalps. If you've fought no one, if you've been inactive for 2 years and fought no one top 10, you've got no business being mandatory, aka Bermain-Stavern 2. When Wilder rematched Bermain-Stavern had literally done nothing for 2 years. I think he had one fight in that 2-year period between 2015 when they fought the first time and the rematch in October or November 2017. I think he fought like once against a complete stiff, and somehow he was made mandatory. Oh man, well, the Eliminator. They bring out all these goofy buzzwords that no one understands. What do you mean Eliminator? He ain't fought no one. He's been inactive for 2 years. Another great example, Dominic Bumzeal. Oh man, he fought Eliminator. What top 10 individual did Dominic Brazil beat to warrant the mandatory shot in May 2019? Who did he beat? Bearing in mind, by the way, Dillian White had beat Joseph Parker and had beat Derek Chisora. No one on Dominic Brazil's record is better than either one of them two people. Meanwhile, Dillian White had beat both of them in the same year here. And Lucas Brown, in fact. Within the same year, he'd beaten Lucas Brown, Chisora and Joseph Parker. Now, don't get me wrong, Lucas Brown ain't all that, but he's better than the man that Dominic Brazil beat. I don't even know who he beat. He's better than the man Bermain-Stavern beat. I don't even know who he beat. Again, as an example. Yeah? But put Lucas Brown to the side, categorically we know Parker and Chisora would maul, never mind the person that Dominic Brazil and Bermain-Stavern beat. Both Chisora and Parker would maul both of them. Bermain-Stavern and Brazil in the same damn night. No word of a lie. I would take Joseph Parker over Brazil and Bermain in the same night, back to back. No problem doing that. Seriously, I would. If someone said to me, YB, bet who wins, Derek Chisora versus Bermain, then half an hour later, Dominic Brazil. Hand on my heart, I'd take Derek Chisora. I would. And that just goes to show, Dillian Whyte's beat both of them men in the same 6-month period, literally 6 months. He fought Parker in July, I think it was, and then he fought Chisora in December. In fact, less than 6 months, in 5 months. And that situation here, Dillian Whyte, oh man, eliminator, they should scrap the eliminator business. Who have you beat? If you beat a top 10, that should be you. Now, if there's someone who would beat better people than Dillian Whyte, I don't know, let's say some magical entity had come down and beat, like, pick some top people, yeah? I'd be saying, you know what, to be fair, Dominic Brazil beat Povetkin and Dominic Brazil beat AJ or something. You can kind of say, you know what, it's difficult to argue for Dillian Whyte, but that's not the case. You've got a whole lot of random people getting mandatories. And that's what frustrates me about this. Oh yeah, another example. Never mind Bermain, never mind Dominic Brazil, another cat who just rocks up and gets a mandatory. Who do we know? Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury comes back. 2-year layoff. Beat Vlad 10 years ago. Comes back. Fights the Silver Surfer. Pianetta. Panini. Then he fights some other dude. He fights Pianetta and then the Silver Surfer. Sefer Seferi. Yeah? Both people top 200. He fights them two. Then the WBC goes out of its way to mandate the fight. Oh, Tyson Fury mandatory. December 2018. What? You what? That fight happens. It's a draw. They mandate it again. Tyson Fury mandated. Tyson Fury ducks the rematch in February 2019. Takes a year out to do what he wants and fight bums. Go life and death with Otto Wallin. Meanwhile, Dillian Whyte's sitting there like, can I get a shot, please? Then what happens after that? Tyson Fury decides to rock up. Oh, you know what? I think I'll take my mandatory now in February 2020 instead. And the WBC jumped to Tyson Fury's whim. Tyson Fury rejected the mandatory position, by the way. I'm pretty sure when you reject a mandatory position, it don't just sit there waiting for you. It moves to the next person, does it not? Otherwise, how would there be any continuity as such? If you can just postpone it, why doesn't everyone just sit there and say, nah, you know what, I'll take it in 5 years' time. I didn't know the belts do that. I didn't know belts and mandatories wait for people. If Fury turned it down in February, it should have said, you know what, you've missed your chance. Maybe next time. After Dillian Whyte gets his shot, then we can talk about Fury. That's what should have happened. When someone turns down a mandatory, like Fury did, it should have said, you know what, we're going to move on now to the next person. Instead, they sat there and waited for him. It's mental. It should be, in all honesty, it should be Wilder versus Whyte in February, and the winner of that gets Fury. That's what should be happening now. Because Fury already had a shot and couldn't pull it off. We know categorically Fury did not beat Wilder in the first fight, meaning that he's had his shot. And let's at least get Dillian Whyte one on the board before we start dishing out other things. Anyway, I spent most of this video talking about the WBC and whatnot, but it's relevant to Andy Ruiz because, like I said, Maurizio Suleiman's talking about how, Andy Ruiz doesn't have to prove anything. Andy Ruiz doesn't have to have qualifying rounds. Maybe he should rest up and reflect on what he did wrong. Then he can move on and come and get a mandatory with us. What? What's going on here? It's mental. Completely mental, man. Be consistent. Give everyone their shot. Now I've got that moaning out the way. Let's actually analyse the Wilder vs Ruiz fight in its own right. Now, I've got to be honest, guys. I've just defended Dillian Whyte there, but in my heart of hearts, I think an Andy Ruiz is a better fight, is a harder fight for Wilder. As someone who wants to see Wilder knocked out, I think Andy Ruiz has a better chance of doing that. I think his hooks are faster. I think his combinations are more plentiful. I think his pressure is more of a pressure fighter. I think his defense is a bit tighter. His guard's tight. I think his cardio is possibly better. Yeah, and I think his speed, I think all of that element part of it, his chin as well, I think is probably better. We haven't seen we've seen Andy Ruiz put down, we've seen him ghostbusted, but we haven't seen him iced, we haven't seen him, do you know what I mean? That uppercut, the uppercut that Dillian Whyte got hit with by AJ, Ruiz got hit with a similar one, and Ruiz took it. In fact, Ruiz took two. Ruiz took a big uppercut from AJ, right uppercut, left hook, and he ate it. Dillian White didn't eat it. Dillian White went spark out. And that's not being disrespectful, that's the truth of it. So I think, in terms of holding a right hand, I'd take Ruiz. Just look at the AJ fight, the rematch. Ruiz is very good at taking straight shots. Very good at them. In fact, he's good at taking all shots, but particularly the right hand. AJ hit him with that right hand all night, and Ruiz, he's got a right hand chin. He knows he's very good at absorbing a right hand. So with that in mind, I like that. I like to see. I actually think the Ruiz fight's more competitive. I'd like to pick Ruiz against Wilder, and actually, the great thing about a Wilder and Ruiz fight is this. I'm not sure if Ruiz is going to come back, but one thing I will say, if Ruiz does come back, if Ruiz doesn't pull off a Marcos Maidana and go into retirement, if he does come back, I do actually believe he'll come back in good shape. I think it's kind of binary. Either Ruiz is going to stay away and be a 400-pound slob, or if he comes back, he will actually give it a proper go. I don't think he's going to come back and go through the motions. He might do, but that's how I'm thinking at the moment. I think if Ruiz is motivated enough to come back at all, he will do it properly. But let's see. The reason I bring that up is to say that if Ruiz comes back properly and he weighs in 250, even 240, i.e. best shape of his life, that's going to be really dangerous for anyone. Particularly Wilder, given that the only person who survived Wilder is Bermane Stiverne. Now, what was Bermane Stiverne's style? Pressure, high guard, and all of this. Bermane Stiverne's pressure he hasn't got as much pressure as Andy Ruiz. He hasn't got as much hand speed. He hasn't got as much combinations. He doesn't hit as hard. He hasn't got as good chin. And you know what I mean? If Bermane Stiverne can take Wilder life and death, Ruiz is going to do something different to Wilder, in my opinion. Now, people are saying, and actually, the Ruiz fight will be a great test for Wilder's right hand, meaning that if Wilder knocks out Ruiz with right hand, I'll say myself, Wilder's right hand is now proven. I need to see it though. I am not sold on Wilder's right hand. Everyone talking about Wilder as the biggest puncher in history. I do not believe that. Currently, he's got an alright right hand. As in, I'd put him up there. I'd put him probably, currently, all time wise, I'd put Wilder up there in the top 20 for right hands. Wilder is up there in the top 20. Along with everyone else, more or less. I can't sit here today and tell you he's got a better right hand than AJ. I just can't do that. Because who's he been in there with? Seriously, who's he been in there with? Who? I haven't seen it. Old man in Ortiz. Fury, who goes down by anyone anyway, to be honest with you. I haven't seen it proven. Now, like I said, if I see Wilder knock out AJ, knock out Ruiz with right hand, I'll come on here and say, you know what, the right hand's proven. I need to see him actually knock out some good chins first. I haven't seen it yet. But anyway, this fight, Dillian White and or Ruiz, they're two fights that need to happen. But in reality, are they going to happen? I don't think so. Wilder talked a good talk. Oh man, I want to fight Andy Ruiz. He talked it good, but I think he probably knew that AJ was going to win. That's why he was so much on the hype. You know what I mean? Oh man, I'm going to fight Ruiz. He knew that AJ had the rematch clause. He knew that there weren't going to be no unification fight. He knew all these things. That's why he was calling Ruiz out. You'll notice now. Now Ruiz is free again. Wilder ain't mentioning Ruiz at all. What happened to fighting Ruiz? He don't want nothing to do with Ruiz now. And that's what I'm saying. I'll be very surprised if Wilder wants to fight Ruiz. I just will. I just don't see it. That said, it would be a great fight. And if he really wants to prove himself, these are the people he needs to fight. But historically, all the people he's supposed to fight, he doesn't fight. Honest, out of everyone, Ortiz was the last person on my list. That's not what I would have rather have seen Wilder versus Chisora. In all honesty, I think Chisora knocks Ortiz out. Too old now. Too old. Too goofy. But anyway, this whole situation's weird, but I just hope one of Ruiz or White gets the fight. That's what we need to see now. People who are coming there on focus. People who have something to offer. Not these old random ass dudes.